Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 208 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. I'll be your host today. Joining me is Mondo.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to spooky season.
I was just trying to match your energy there. No, I'm going to take it down a notch. It's been a long week.
I've been taking some ginseng this week, and it's got me pumped. I love that stuff.
Is that code name for like cocaine?
Like, if you didn't know, yeah.
Cocaine in your 40s? It's ginseng?
Yes, cocaine when you're in your mid-40s is ginseng.
For guys never done cocaine before, I get offered cocaine a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I don't have a face as this guy fucking does cocaine. Right. I don't. I'm lame as shit. But I got offered cocaine once at my boss's house from a magician he hired to play our Christmas party. And he kept trying to urge me to do it.
That was such a Mad Lib sentence.
Yeah.
That is very Vegas. That sounds...
Yeah, I was like, if I'm going to do cocaine, my first time isn't going to be at my boss's house, who pays me, during his Christmas party with a magician I just met who I don't like.
The other voice you're hearing is the always entertaining Ariel from the Zombie Grrlzs and More Deadly podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. I love you bring the spooky vibes. I love your background. Always a good time.
Thank you.
What's been going on over at the More Deadly and Zombie Grrlzs?
Well, we haven't released a Zombie Grrlzs episode in quite a while, but we have some episodes that I just recently edited that we're going to put out to patrons. So that should be fun for people who haven't gotten a chance to hear from like Sarah and Matilda for a while. On More Deadly, we actually also reviewed the movie that you're reviewing today. And we recently interviewed Mercedes Bryce Morgan, who directed Bone Lake, which just hit theaters. So if you haven't seen that one, it is really fun. So I would suggest getting to the theater to see it. Yeah,
I really want to see that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's bloody. It's kind of like a neurotic thriller throwback. It's a good time.
Nice. Yeah, the advertising for that's been really good. So I'm glad that they're leaning into it. Always fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, tonight we are talking about the latest installment of the VHS franchise. If I'm counting correctly, this is number 8. It's been series been going on since 2012, which I appreciate the longevity. It's wild. It's crazy because viral kind of killed the franchise for a little bit there for like 7 years. But it's come out pretty much every single year since then. And actually, I wouldn't say most of them have been very solid, at least overall. I mean, when anthologies, some are going to be better than others. We'll get into if this one keeps the trend or not. But this came out kicking off the Halloween season on October 3rd, 2025. We're going to kind of piecemeal the synopsis here since Jody's not, but there's a wraparound called Diet's Phantasma, where researchers are have different test groups coming in to try out some sort of haunted soda that they're like trying to formulate. So I guess it's spooky, but doesn't like mercilessly kill the people that drink it, or at least open the can. And between every segment, we see another attempt of them trying to, get the formula right. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through kind of each segment. We'll circle back to this one, but we're going to go through each segment and kind of give a top level thoughts, and we'll talk overall once we're through that. That segment is directed by the wraparound is directed by Brian Ferguson. Our first segment is called Coochie Coochie Coo, directed by Anna Slavik. Where two friends are about to go off to college and they decide to go trick-or-treating and be little punks around town, taking the candy from the places that says only take one and just kind of being general menaces until they see one last house that looks spookier than the others. and they see like some sort of creature kind of poking its head out. They decide to go, they think it's all like one big amusement house, and they go in, and then it's kind of a House of Leaves is the name of that book, where
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
where like the proportions like change dramatically once they're inside, so they can't get out. And then there's like a big barbarian style, elongated, emaciated woman with extra titties walking around trying to.
I mean, depending on what she was, she's a different creature. They might not have been extra. That just might be how many of those creatures have.
Yeah, well, we never get the creature never gives us identifies itself, so we don't know the origin of that species. And then basically the girls are trapped inside with her, and then it's a big man, baby, child, and then I guess previous victims that are now like turned into infantile babies, but still like adults, but with weird baby faces. Ariel, what do you think of this one?
I really liked this one. I think it's one of those things where like when you have a Halloween themed anthology, like sometimes they don't get it right, and not every one of the segments is like Halloweeny enough for me. But this one I feel like really like leans into the Halloween vibes. But on top of that, although it goes to some like kind of familiar haunted house places, the creatures in this are wild. They're so creepy and like upsetting looking. The man child, as you were talking about, like there is a scene where he chomps onto the wall, like he's on the side of it, and that creeped me out genuinely. Like his face is disturbing. So yeah, I thought this one was really entertaining, had some genuinely creepy moments. I have like a personal fatigue around the older woman with saggy breasts being
Yeah.
the monster. Like it's overused in horror so much, especially in the last few years. So I don't love that, but in this instance, I actually thought it did a pretty good job of like having additional commentary in there about motherhood, so I didn't mind it quite as much. And overall, I thought this one looked great. Like all of the creatures were disturbing. The way that they made those baby faces with like the distended cheeks look was unsettling and, creepy. So yeah, I had fun with this one.
Yeah, this was a good starter. It was like a good, like, okay, let's just get the Halloween vibes from the start. I feel like it got a little repetitious of them just kind of crawling around the house after a while. I feel like it went a little bit longer than I would have liked. But overall, yeah, there's definitely the man child, and a lot of the effects are very creepy on this one. So I'm happy about that.
They do this creepy thing too that I really enjoy, where you see these horrific creatures walking around, but they're not necessarily attacking them all the time. And I somehow find that just very unsettling to be trapped in this house with these creatures that kind of just like, they're like, oh, you're just trapped here, so we'll just kind of we'll get to you when we get to you.
Yeah, and they're just walking around going about their day.
Yeah, this is just their normal day, and they'll get to you when they get to you, and that's always really creepy.
Yeah,
I don't, and this is just not related to the segment, but I'm just gonna say if adults, teenage kids want to come trick or treat in my house, they can come trick or treat in my house. I'll give them candy. Like, you're not too old to trick or treat ever. Like, just go have a good time.
Yes.
But
let kids be
stand
kids. Like
fast.
if you're a teenager and you're trick or treating as opposed to doing all of the crazy shit we did as teenagers on Halloween, like more power to you. Let kids, like let teenagers have that, please.
I just have one rule. It's not even a rule. I just please put a costume on. Like, have some effort. I don't care if it's like a bandit mask. Like, you try.
Right, something.
I'll give you candy no matter what. Don't get me wrong. Because again, like you said, like you're having a good time. Have a good time. If you're an adult and you come to my house in a costume and ask for trick or treat, you're getting a candy bar. It's just how it is. I do give out full-size candy bars. I'm just going to point that out.
Ooh, nice.
That's my flex on all my neighbors. Is my full-size candy bar. Is a thing that I always want to do when I grew up. I was like, I was going to be everyone loved the house. I gave out full-size candy bars. I always want to be that guy, because it's nothing's better than giving a full-size candy bar to a kid, and then you see them, and they walk away, and then they'll be like, Dad, they have full-size candy bars. It's like,
That's awesome.
Worth it. But yeah, this is a good segment. I like the way this started out. Started out very, very creepy. When this just goes for it. And the scene that really also creeped me out was the woman that had the face mask on with the milk just pumping into her face.
Yes.
And I was really kind of like, can someone please help her? Like, you guys, you have hands. Can you help her? And remove her from this torture. And then like you said, Ariel, the effects and the way their faces are all distended. It reminded me of a scene that's always horrific to me in Nightmare on Elm Street 5,
Yes.
where it's Freddy's feeding the woman to
Greta.
death.
Right.
And that distended look of the face has always kind of creeped me out. So I really liked how they did that. But I think this was a really solid segment.
Yeah, I thought about that scene too. All right. The next episode, let's see, the next segment I believe is Ut Supra Sik Enfer.
Yep.
This is directed by Paco Plaza, who directed Rec 1, 2, and 3. And this is about a group of let's see, a group of people that were working at like a manor of some sort. This one I'm a little fuzzy on, so help me. But they're working at some sort of manor on Halloween night. They go to a special room that supposedly was haunted by a witch of some sorts. And then they all go, are all brutally murdered. But that happens at the right before the segment starts. What we're watching is the police investigation, where there's one survivor, and they're taking the survivor back to this special room. And then they spooky stuff starts happening. They find a phone that's out of nowhere, that's not plugged in anything, and it keeps ringing, and then people answer it. And then is this one I think has the most like inventive shooting styles, where like people are being like ghostily lifted up and dropped. It's a really interesting effect. And this is again the Spanish language segment. So yeah, what did you guys think of this one?
I was a fan. I liked I liked how it was all contained to kind of like one room, and all these horrific things are happening in there. I love a good kind of satanic occult story. So it really kind of worked for me. And it was I think it was different enough from all the other segments in this that it stands out a little bit. As being, because granted is dark, but it doesn't go as dark as the one we're going to talk about later. And it's also not kind of as Halloween-y as some of the other ones are, although it does start out as a Halloween party. But overall, I thought this was pretty effective.
Ariel?
Yeah, I like this one too. I thought this was genuinely creepy. And I know that it kind of breaks the whole like found footage thing because of the way that it's set up, but I really liked how we were getting these kind of like flashbacks as he's telling the police what was happening, because I feel like the way that it cut back and forth really like amped up the tension, And the telephone appearing in the room is like, it's so simplistic that it shouldn't work, but I found that to be genuinely chilling. Like, it was creepy. I thought that was really, really effective. And like you were saying, the way that people like dropped from the ceiling, also really creepy. I had a hard time with like some of the strobe effects, just personally. That's hard for me to watch. But this one I found to be like creative and one of the most unsettling of all of the different segments in this whole thing.
Yeah, and I like this one because a lot of these segments are with either kids or younger adults. I like this one had like actual adults, like serious police officers, like being thrown around and stuff. It was a good variety. This is probably on a technical level the best in this segment, in this within all these segments for this episode, for this movie. It's just really well shot, really well put together. It's really cool how like everyone flies up to the top and they're all kind of stuck to the ceiling, but then we see another doorway, so it's like one of those like mirror like universe kind of things where this guy's just kind of walking around. I thought that was a really cool effect and just really well handled, really interestingly.
It's very disorienting kind of when they're on the ceiling, because they intentionally go back and forth, so you kind of don't know if you're staring at them on the ground or the ceiling, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing where like they add a line at the very beginning, like we don't know how these bodies got as mangled as they are. There's no weapons. There's like no like fingerprints or anything. So like they kind of plant that seed, and then they're like, oh no, it didn't happen. Like something didn't hit them. They fell really far.
Yeah,
that was a good setup for that. All right, the next segment is called Funsize, directed by Casper Kelly, who wrote and directed Too Many Cooks. She also wrote the Cheddar Goblin segment in Mandy. I guess like co-directed that with the actual Mandy people. This one started off a little bit like the first segment, the Coochie Coochie Coo one, where there's a group of young adults who keeps talking about how they're too old for trick or treating, and then they go to the wrong house, and they find all this weird candy that no one's ever heard of, and they're all weird shapes and stuff, and then they get sucked into the candy bowl and are transported to this factory, and they are being chased by these creatures that look like mascots, but like demonic mascots. And then one of them is like chained to a conveyor belt, and he's chopped up and made into the candy, the candy that they're eating at the beginning. It turns out that was actually people candy. This one has some interesting ideas. I didn't like the actors very much. I'm sorry. Or maybe it's the script. Like one of them kept calling like my fiance, whatever it was. Like
it was done intentionally to be really over the top. But yeah, that got kind of annoying.
It got really old. It was like, where are you, fiance? Where are you? Like, I understand that's a joke, but like in the emergency situation, you usually drop that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it went on a little bit too long. Like it has a really good payoff at the end, you know, when he actually is like, you know, killed. But until then, you're right, it goes on like maybe a little bit too long. But I appreciated the end of it all.
It takes you out of it.
Yeah.
When you know these movies have to work extra hard to keep us grounded in like whatever reality that they're in. But I like the design. I like those the candy making effects are really cool. You know, like where someone like finds a key and then their hand, but they get stuck in their hand, so they go through the candy machine and then they have to like break it out. That was all fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is like so zany and ridiculous, you know? Like I understand who it was made from. I think that you can definitely see all of that in this one because it's just like over the top. It's kind of campy, but it's just like I don't know. It has this like madcap bonkers energy to it that I thought was really fun. It sort of reminded me of like, did you guys see VHS Beyond, the last one, the alien one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So in that one, there's this kind of like out of place segment, the one that Justin Long did, the dog, like where they're turning people
I love
into
that
dogs.
one. Yeah,
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that one has that same kind of like out of left field zaniness, and I appreciate having like some of the darker elements in this broken up by that, because the previous one by the rec director is kind of dark, and the very next one we're gonna get to is like beyond dark. So I thought this was like a perfect thing to kind of mix those two up with, you know.
I think my problem with this one, and it kind of goes back to that first segment, is that they're almost too similar in a couple ways.
That's fair.
That like they kind of pilfer from each other, so they both kind of suffer.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
Goes.
I think like tonally they're really different, and where they end up going is pretty different. But you're right, the setup is almost identical in a lot of ways. So, but I mean, I don't know. I appreciated the kind of weird humor in this. Like, you know, they make like a dick candy bar, and there's a woman who's like pumped full of candy until her face explodes.
Oh, that was
good, like there's
a
lot of there's a lot of great elements in it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one too. Like just the wackiness. I love at the end too, the conveyor belt and the creepy character and the way like shooting at the end too when the kid is finding the pieces of candy. She's like, this one's got a piece of metal in it, and it's the ring. It's the engagement ring or whatever. And I thought this did a lot of stuff right. And like you said, Ariel, like it was a nice little breakup because you know, it's easy. It'd be easy for these to get just really, really, really dark to the point where it's like it's unrelenting. And it was a nice breakup, especially when we consider what we're about to watch next after this one. And I also love the wacky music that plays on the conveyor belt. And my wife made a good point that I didn't pick up. She goes, "It's an organ grinder. It sounds like an organ grinder, and they're going through an organ grinder." And I'm like,
nice.
I was like, I never thought of that. That's pretty damn brilliant.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's clever. I didn't pick up on that either. That's great. I love that.
This I almost wish wasn't. Obviously, to fit in with the VHS series, it has to be found footage. But I kind of wish this wasn't found footage. I think it kind of held it back a little bit what they were trying to do.
I can say, but they did have an interesting thing though, how the two characters were dressed up as people who shoot found footage movies,
right,
to explain why they have cameras. I thought that was actually a pretty brilliant setup.
That was good.
It's clever. Yeah. And the weird like candy mascot guys, like again, they're so silly and goofy, but there was something like slightly unsettling, especially about the little guy for some reason. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
This one worked for me.
All right, the next segment is by let's see, it's called KidPrint by Alex Ross Perry. And this, and I guess this was a big thing in like the 80s and 90s. I don't remember this specific. I remember this kind of like paranoia, but I don't remember this being a thing, for, at least that we did, where there's a company where people would take their kids and they would get them like picture with like the measuring like with a background that's like the it's almost like when you're getting what you call it, your mug shot. That's what it looked like, where like it measures your height, and they're like, I guess it's so if a kid goes missing that they have like the measurements and everything to be able to find them easier, identify them easier. So we're seeing a bunch of kids going through a place, and there's been a rash of kidnappings in this area. And we're kind of going through our point of view as the guy who owns the place, and kind of seeing the people that work there. And, you know, this is definitely a physical media kind of place. And they, you know, we see he has kids, and they kind of go to like a police ran, you know, Halloween festival of some sort. You know, of course, you know, only takes place during daylight, and then everyone is like, you know, they need to go home. But some kids go missing, and the owner of the store goes back to, I forget why he goes back to his shop. He goes back to his shop.
He had to go pick up something. They asked him to go pick up something. He's like, oh, I have that in my shop. I'll go grab it.
Right. And then he comes to find that some of the missing kids are there. And we were seeing like insert video of kids being tortured. And I mean like actual kid actors with like, you can see someone like their faces being torn off, like really brutal stuff. And then we come to find out that his coworker, someone that works for him, was actually doing the murders and the kidnappings and the torturing, but the owner gets framed for it. So the guy that we're watching is the one that gets framed for it. And some of the kids end up thinking that he's the one that's doing it, so they beat him up and kill him. I think they kill him. I can't remember if it was the kids or the other guy. So anyways, everything gets pinned on him. So it's kind of like a tragedy, because you're not sure if he's the one that's perpetrating it at first. You think he might be in on it, but no, he was just innocent bystander. Pretty innocent bystander. So yeah.
I think the most unsettling part of this wasn't even the torture scenes. I think it was the kids crying and standing in front of the camera, and like the kid wanted to play Super Nintendo. And I thought that was like what was really disturbing about it was like, and you could tell like it's almost like this guy was excited about the mental torture more than the physical torture.
Yes.
But when he's like torturing that kid and saying, "Oh, you can take it," I'm like, this is like I don't want to say it was a bad segment, because it wasn't. It was well done, right? And it got to me, but I want to say like I think it went some places I definitely didn't enjoy. I'll put it that way.
Ariel. Yeah. This is a tricky one because I don't totally know how I feel about it. On the one hand, the positives I will say about it is that the practical effects are really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of like flaying of children, and like there's a scene where a kid's like face has been taken off and he like puts it back on his face. It's just like there's a lot, and a lot of it looks really good. I also have this thing like sometimes when I'm watching a movie and they're like leading up to a kid being killed and then they like pull the punch and don't do it, I'm always like, oh man, you could have been meaner. Like, why didn't you go far enough? You know what I mean? And so this should be maybe a segment that works for me on that issue alone. But I think this one is almost like it takes it a little too far. It's just unrelenting, where you get a little bit of a setup and a little bit of an end, and in the middle all you're seeing is just like one scene after another of kids being tortured in like really grisly, gruesome, gritty ways. And I mean, like, it really commits to the brutality in this segment. Yeah. And yeah. I don't know that there's like a point to it. Like, it kind of is one of those things where, like, for instance, in like the early 2000s and stuff, when we were just getting like torture porn movie after torture porn movie, and there were some of them that were like, you know, really good and it did something, and then there were others where it was just unrelenting and kind of gross, you know? And this feels like it veers into that lane a little bit. And so I'm with you, Mando. I don't think I enjoyed this one. Like, I appreciate things
Yeah,
about it, but I don't know that my experience of watching it was enjoyable. And for that reason, I think it may be my least favorite part of the whole movie.
For me,
I
I
think
think I enjoyed it more the second. Well, not enjoyed it more, I should say. I think I appreciated it more on the second watch because, much like you said,
Oh,
I focused
interesting.
more on the practical effects and
Sure.
the things they did really well, as opposed to the. But like, just yeah, like something about those kids like crying and knowing what's going to happen to them, and like you said too, like I appreciate films that go all the way with it, but
Hmm.
it reminds me in a sense of Martyrs, where I
yeah.
think Martyrs is actually a
Yeah.
really well done movie. I love the ending, but the scene where they're torturing the poor girl, like it doesn't need to go on for 45 minutes. You can convey all
Right.
that and give me enough shock value in 15. And I think this was the same
Right.
thing. Like I said,
Right.
it just kept
Exactly.
going. It just kept going.
Well, I mean, yeah, I love Martyrs as an extreme film that actually has a
Hmm.
point to what to like
Hmm.
narratively for what they're trying to do. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Here is just like some sadistic fuckers, like I don't know. Within the context of the movie, he's very disturbed sick man, and there's only so much that I can really take,
Well,
or want
I
to like.
think I think what they're trying to do is like show like remember how we were kids and you guys said the whole thing of like oh kids get snatched up on Halloween all the time
Mm,
and they're trying to play into that fear, but like you said and like you guys both said, there was really no point at the end.
well, and again, there's a
Right.
way to make this that would have been like if they would have like held out the mystery of who he was, or like made us really think it was the owner guy. Like there have been
Hmm.
so many places. Like I think they did this a lot more in the earlier VHS movies, where there was like little Easter eggs that kind of pointed to the twist, or
Okay.
the killer or something like that. That was like in the background that we just weren't noticing, or it was like a quick flash or something. Like just one second where they're like, oh, when they're looking through the tapes, like, oh, aren't these the kids that went missing? And then it kind of cuts away from that. Like more of that, but
Yeah.
even more subtle, I think would have gone a long way to make this at least more cerebral and not quite as visceral, to like balance things out a little bit. Um,
I have to call some shenanigans on it too, because like if all the kids that came up missing all went to this place to get their photos,
mhm.
I feel like you'd want to investigate that just a little bit.
Yeah,
Right. Like, I know the
they
cops genuinely like aren't good at their jobs a lot of times, but that
Yeah,
feels like something most people would have
that's a
caught. Yeah.
that's a pretty
yeah, you
slam
don't.
dunk. If all the parents said, "Hey, we all happened to go to this place earlier today,"
Yeah,
hmm,
Well, and they would have known, because wouldn't that be your first thing? Your kid goes missing and you're like, oh, I did this kid print. I'm going to hand that over to the cops, because that's the whole point of it, right?
right?
right. And the other piece to it, yeah, and you think too, like with all the gore they were showing, where is he doing this in the building, and how was like someone's like,
No
hey,
one noticing.
why is there this little streak of blood on the wall? Like
Yeah,
I don't know,
there'd be a lot of
it is
blood.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no way you clean all that up overnight. Like, and that guy'd be so tired. Like, he worked an 8-hour shift, then did this all night, then cleaned it up.
I love that you're worried about how tired the killer would be. It's hilarious.
I'm
Yeah.
not worried about. I'm just saying, like, that dude's like,
Yeah.
you notice, like, why does Pete drink like 8 pots of coffee a day? Why is he always tired?
All right, moving on. We go to our last segment, which is called Home Haunt, and it's directed by R.H. Norman. And this is about, it starts off with one video that takes place in the past about a little boy who's really into monsters and whatnot. And him and his father do this haunted house every year. And then we kind of like realize that they're watching a video from the past. The present, the boy's grown up. He's kind of really over it. Wants to go hang out with the girls on Halloween, etc. But his dad's trying to get him to do like one last haunt before the kid was way over it, or he's just trying to recapture that magic. So they go to some sort of oddity store to get some things for their haunt. They end up going to the section that they're not supposed to go to, which seems not much security or anything there for how dangerous these items might end up being.
There's a rope, but I also saw this as being like the fuck around, find out part of the movie. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just going to tell you not to go in there. If you do, whatever happens is you did it. You caused this.
right. So they end up borrowing or whatever a vinyl. I forgot what it says on it, but it's like like a haunted house. Those not oddity, but
For the record, I probably would have tried to steal that too. Like, I'm just going to say,
I was gonna say this is definitely something Mondo would do.
yeah. I wouldn't try to steal it though. I would try to buy it. Like I wouldn't be able. I wouldn't, in good conscience, be able to steal it.
I'm saying if you saw that in the store, you'd be all over it, just randomly.
100%.
So it's a record, but so anyway, so they take the record, and then for some reason they don't play it to see what's on it until like it's time to start the haunted house, and they're like letting people in this ginormous haunted house area that they built, and then spooky stuff starts happening, and actual witches and other demons and stuff run around, and they have to make it for like each section, and then of course there's lots of kids that end up getting killed. That's the theme in this movie, and basically at the very end, this is probably my favorite shot of the whole movie, is a witch steals the camera and puts it on her broomstick and goes flying around and like starts like literally ripping people apart. We get witch cam.
I love this segment so much.
Yeah. Ariel?
Yeah, this was so good.
Mondo, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna wait.
Ariel, we can't hear you. Mondo, can you hear?
Oh no, she just dropped off. I'll go real fast, and then we'll get Ariel back here. Hopefully, this was my favorite segment of the whole series, and not the whole series, I should say, but the whole episode, the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the fact that you had all these like seemingly mundane kind of like the ghost, the freaking ghost. That's just a sheet with some eyes cut out, enveloping the person and like just crushing them. It was legit like one of my favorite kills I've ever seen. Like I was giddy with how brutal that was and how great that was. And then the witch coming alive and the executioner and all that. I just think everything on this whole thing was done just about as perfect as you could ask for. And it's one of those things I'll definitely revisit. I'll be happy to watch again. I also like kind of the dichotomy of the kid getting older, because every parent kind of goes through stuff like that, right? Where you want to recapture that that memory that you have when you were younger, or that you have from your kid when they were younger, and then they and it's hard to get that back, and because kids grow up, right, and they learn, they do new things. But I did kind of like how the kid was kind of warming up to the idea towards the end until all the shit went down. But the real moral of the story here is if you if you're gonna play a record, you might as well play it backwards and just see what happens. Like fuck it.
Yeah, again, it bothers me that like they got this cool looking record, but they didn't like play it to see what was actually on it or like what the vibe is, especially if they're gonna like, you would think they're making this really meticulous haunted house with like theme rooms and everything, that they would like at least try the record out.
Yeah, no, I 100% get that, but I didn't even think about it. Like,
see if that's like the linchpin. They could easily make up something like the curse only works on Halloween or something like that.
Yeah, or anything, right? They could even do it to where he played the records. Okay, this is cool. But then when he plays it for the Halloween, it goes, he plays like 10 seconds of it. But then as it plays the whole thing, then something happens. I don't know. Like I didn't even think about that for one moment, to be honest with you.
Or even like if they would try to play it backwards just to see what would happen. And that's what kicks everything off.
I mean, actually, the funny thing is, I would never play a record backwards, because you're just fucking your record and your needle up. Like, come on, don't do that. Yeah, I absolutely loved this segment, and I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for good Halloween set pieces. Like I really am. And the backyard haunted house is fun, and I think we can all relate to all being, the horror nerds, that like Halloween's like probably all of our favorite time of the year. And like I love the fact you can tell this guy was super passionate about Halloween.
Yeah, there's an interesting theme that runs throughout pretty much every segment about like how old is too old to enjoy Halloween. And I think the answer is never too old. But I think there's like, it's the natural occurrence, as we're growing up to like want to hold on to the magic of young Halloween. I'll say I enjoy Halloween much more as an adult than I ever really did as a kid.
Me too.
Really?
Either giving out candy or taking my kids trick or treating is so much more fun than I ever really had as a kid. And just all the other Halloween stuff I go to now as an adult. I enjoy Halloween much more than I ever did when I was an actual kid. Probably because it was usually raining. So the Halloween
Pacific Northwest, I forgot. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like growing up in an apartment complex in Vegas, like Halloween wasn't as cool when I was a kid. But
Oh, that's so
it,
sad because I feel like I grew up in an urban area. So, because I grew up in Oakland, and Halloween was
um,
like one of the few nights where you could like actually run around and have like
yeah,
freedom as a kid, you know?
like we had that. So okay, and I also grew up with parents that were just absent. So like we kind of did whatever we wanted anyways.
Oh, okay.
So I don't
Yeah,
know,
fair.
and that kind
Okay.
of made it more difficult. But like I always love as an adult being able to I was able to give my kid cool Halloween experiences and give them the experience
Yeah.
for the kids. I think that's why I love it too. Hence
Yeah,
the
I
full
mean, I
second.
agree that like Halloween is like the one night that like everyone, yeah, is out at the same time. You know, you get to meet. I see neighbors and stuff. I only get to see like once or twice a year. It's usually on Halloween. Um, and just taking my kids all over, and you know, having fun with them on that level, and just kind of like just the energy of it. I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
And I feel like this segment captured it probably the best of all of them. One thing that I didn't realize until I was going through the IMDb, when they're going through the maze, and there's the guy saying, "Oh, all this stuff sucks. This looks like crap." There's like another father with his kids there. That is actually Rick Baker,
Oh,
the
Oh
really?
no way!
legendary
I didn't
makeup
catch that.
effects artist.
Oh,
You
I
know,
totally didn't clock that. That's so cool.
I mean, I didn't clock it till you know I was did the IMDb, but
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well,
So I
just
wonder if
like
he's like
another
friends
fact, I
or.
feel like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say I would be remiss as like a host of More Deadly if I didn't also point out that this segment was also co-directed by Micheline Pitt, so not just
Oh,
R.H.
was it?
Norman.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Apologies.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Thank you for the oversight. Correcting the
Totally happened
oversight.
again, Jason.
Um, so yeah, this is just a really, really fun one. And again, the witch cam really did it for me.
Oh, that's
And
great.
I'll get to my in a moment, but I wish there was much more of those kind of things in this movie. But let's wrap it up.
Mm.
We come back to the wraparound again. Each one, it's almost the exact same. Where they're just like, okay, bring in new. So we're going back to the wraparound. They bring in new test subjects to give them the can. Pretty much as soon as they open it, either like tentacles come out or just acid that spurts out or something happens and just brutally murders everyone. And they like press a button to go burn everything in there, and they have someone that cleans everything up. And of course, it gets by the end, it gets to be too much, and the creatures escape. Yada yada. It's the wraparound. I thought was a huge missed opportunity.
There was one wacky thing though, when the kids are banging on the glass and the guy goes, ah, he turns around, like power walks away in fear.
Yeah.
I rewound it like 4 times.
Like there's definitely good
So,
moments in the wraparound, and yeah, there's great gore effects stuff, but the plot is just nothing. Like it's the exact same thing that happens over and over and over again. And like again, this is supposed to be VHS Halloween. It's got nothing to do with Halloween. Or
Yeah.
VHS. But the two main things this movie I guess
It
they're
failed at
recording
both.
on. But again, I like it in the earlier ones where they come there's just like cult or something about the tapes and stuff, and all kind of like ties together a little bit. If this was maybe
Yeah.
like somehow if these were like being recorded for that we saw at the very end, or there's something to kind of tie it back to that central theme. It just was very and again, we did almost the exact same thing last year where the scientists like discover some sort of alien, and they're like recording it through glass, but every time something different happens with the alien.
yeah.
And that was that like a Mike Flanagan or something directed part. There's someone like I forget who it was, someone pretty well known behind that wraparound. But this one, it wasn't Flanagan, but it was someone of note. I can't remember who. This one just was kind of like I felt like a lot of these they could have used a little bit more time in the oven to flesh out. I understand they're trying to get these out every year, but I almost rather them take a year off to like refresh ideas. And this is I'm kind of talking larger scale about the movie. What I like about the VHS series is when they get inventive, when they show us something cool. Like other than the witch cam, there really wasn't anything. Like I'm thinking like last year there was a segment where there's the skydivers, and then the aliens
Oh
attack,
yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
and
Yeah.
then we get to
Hmm.
see from like a GoPro of someone like falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't much of that. And I know those things, like I know when you're on your 8th edition of this series, and each of those has like multiple contained stories, they go through a lot of ideas. Or like the zombie cam one, I think it's number 2, was so cool. Like I felt I don't think just running out of ideas and not giving themselves enough time to develop ideas. I would have loved like a whole segment of Witch Cam, or like the segment of like a candy bar, like the life of a candy bar on Halloween, or something, like a haunted candy bar, or something like that.
That's a good
You should be
idea.
making film,
Yeah.
Jason.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
what's
like
up with
I can
that?
spitball these ideas. I'm sure these people are much more talented than I am,
TM,
that they could
TM.
come up with something. Right, the haunted candy bar. Something that could have been a little bit more inventive as far as the found footage goes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong about that. I think that a little bit more time would have been good. And I completely agree with the wraparound thing. I actually think if that had been like a 5 minute segment
Hmm.
as opposed to a wraparound, it would have been really successful because I think the opening is fun. It's like this sort of zany MK Ultra style setup,
Yeah.
and there's almost like a Slacks quality to it. Like, do you remember that movie with like
Yep.
the haunted pants or whatever?
Yeah, that was a good
Oh,
one.
And I really like that kind of over the top ridiculousness. And there's like a mustache twirly quality to the kind of ridiculous bad
Hmm.
guy in this, the head guy. And so I think if you had stopped it after that first bit, it would have been really successful and maybe just had like an ending to it. Whereas I think what's unsuccessful about this is one, you're right, it doesn't really tie into the segments at all. And then two, it's just really repetitive. Like each time we break from one segment, we go back to this and it kind of just does the same thing over and over again. We just see another kid get it from the you know Coke can or whatever. So I think in that way it's unsuccessful, but the whole movie overall, I know that not everybody is like jiving with this one when I look at people talking about it online. But I think other than the wraparound not being like a huge success and KidPrint not really working, I think the other segments are really good. Not all of them are like 100% standouts, and I'm not necessarily gonna remember all of them like 10 years from now, but I had a good time with the rest of them. So for me, like that's kind of what I'm looking for in an anthology.
Yeah, I mean, like in the pantheon though, the VHS series, this is very middle, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where there's definitely some good parts, but and the bad ones aren't like horrific, like definitely nowhere near as bad as Viral. But
Yeah.
there's just a lot of, I feel like there's just so many missed opportunities in a lot of these
Yeah.
segments that they really missed out on. And again, I know they're on short. I know they don't have much budget. I know they're short on time on these because they're trying to get them out every year. But you know, I'd rather them wait a year and like give it that time to really develop them and give us something better.
I mean, there's a possibility though. Like, I wonder, how when these directors are contacted to do this, if they are like right now, are they already contacting directors for next year, or maybe last year they're already contacting directors for next year? So I'm okay with that for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I see there's just so much potential that could have been better, or at least given some time to do something a little more inventive. But again, it's not bad, not bad at all. It's just
I think it's like it's entertaining but not great.
Yeah, especially for as good as like the last couple years have been.
Yeah.
Like we all remember the Mabel segments. Yeah, and I really like those decades. And again, this kind of Ratma.
Hail Ratma.
Yeah.
The one with the woman in the alien spaceship from last year was really good.
That was very
really
good.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of missed opportunity, especially with Halloween, because there's like so many, like we didn't really go to like an actual like they could have taken the Funsize one and make it like at a Halloween party. Like I don't know if they're not like talking to each other to try to make their things different enough.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading about it before we did the More Deadly episode on it, and they kind of work pretty separately from each other. Apparently, the guy who did the guy who directed Rec, like he had no idea what anybody else was doing, but the other ones, they shared scripts back and forth, so they actually had like a little bit of a clue. Where usually when they're making these, they're kind of in black boxes from each other and have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So. All right. What do we rate this movie? A scale of 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. You can do half points. Mondo, let's start with you.
I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm a sucker for anthologies, as we know, and aside from the, and even the segment I liked the least, it was effective, and I think there's gonna be a lot of people that like it. It's been interesting because the discourse about this online has been very divided. Like you have people that kind of love it, people that hate it, and you don't have a ton of in the middle. And I'm more towards. I mean, I could probably even go 3.5 if I really wanted to, because I think it's a solid anthology. But I also, in the segments that I loved enough to where they carry and elevated the other ones. And I think, when you have, what was it, 5 segments altogether? And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including and then 7 if you include the wraparound.
I think you have at least 3 memorable ones for me, and and one that's memorable for the wrong reasons. So maybe 4 memorable ones for me. I'll take it. I think that's a solid anthology.
Ariel.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think 3.5. I think this was really fun. I had a good time. There's enough sort of Halloween elements in here to keep me happy this time of year. It's not as good as some of my favorite segments from past ones, but I had a good time.
Yeah, I'm hovering around a 3 on this. I think the wraparound really needs to hold the movie together, and that's the weakest part of the whole of all the segments. And when that isn't working, or at least not being serviceable, like if anything, it's annoying me after each one. It really kind of detracts. I really do think if I watch this again, I'll probably enjoy it much more, or I'll come away with a much more positive attitude. But I usually don't watch these more than once, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I also was like set up for success because Rachel had watched the screener before I got a chance to, and she wasn't as big a fan, and so I already knew that it wasn't going to be like a standout one. So then when I ended up having a really good time, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I think that helped.
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think expectation setting has a lot to do with it, because I think because VHS has been so good the last couple of years, at least at least it's been memorable. So going into this, I was like all pumped, and then I started hearing the discourse, but I was like, oh, but it still could probably be better than people are saying. People sometimes are negative right out of the gate, and then I was like, oh, this actually isn't great. But if you have someone you trust saying this is not good, then it's really going to lower your expectations.
Yeah. Do you guys hope that they do more like this? Like, how they did the years for a few years in a row? Do you think that they're going to do like other holiday themed ones? Like Christmas, VHS Christmas or something?
VHS Christmas?
I think it'd be cool, but I don't know if they'd want to release that around Halloween. But like, I'd be totally down. I love Christmas horror, so I'd be totally down for that.
I would be. I'd be okay with VHS Christmas, and they give it and they release it in December, so they give more time to make it better.
Me too. I'd love that.
Could do VHS Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough
VHS,
there. Or like
VHS Flag Day. I don't know.
VHS holidays. Just the VHS holidays or something. VHS
yeah,
solstice.
That's a good point. Each one could be like a different holiday. That could be cool.
Yeah, they could definitely do that. I did love kind of the themed VHS ones. And to be fair, I don't even remember Viral, so it must be as bad as people were saying, because I don't even remember that one like at all. But I do kind of like the theme ones. It does kind of, I think it gives the director something to kind of be very to be very cohesive with.
Well, especially when they're going like the 80s and the 90s, there's a bit of nostalgia for at least for our generation that we can kind of gleam onto, which adds a bit to it too.
Yeah.
But then there's always the ones that like don't really have anything to do with it, and they're just kind of thrown in. Which again, it's fine to have those, but I guess none of the ones on here I felt really reached the heights of the best from the last couple of years. But none of the ones reached the lows of the worst either.
Yeah, I think that last segment did it for me though. That's like my sweet spot when it comes to horror. So I'll fondly remember that last segment for years to come.
Yeah, Home Haunt, I think, honestly, is the best of all of them. I think it's
I might
sure the
go
best
back.
one.
I might go back and watch that one again. I don't know if I was just like in a bad mood by the time I got to that one.
You're just like grump, Jason.
Yeah, it's like fun. It's nostalgic. There's like the entertaining stuff with the dad and the son. I don't know, and I like those neighborhood haunted houses. So I even had fun looking at it when it before it got supernatural. And you know what? That one has like a mean streak to it too, but in like a really fun way, where they like literally melt a girl in a cauldron, but it was
like
fun
a little girl,
as opposed to
it's fun because it's Yeah, because it establishes itself as good as being over the top from the
Right.
beginning. Like once the ghost kills somebody, the flimsy ghost kills somebody, like like it's
Yeah.
going places. And basically said what it didn't feel though like it was done with mean intention like the other segment was.
No, exactly. It was just a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, watch it again and get over the fact they didn't listen to the record first.
Okay. All right, let's take a quick break and do a shout out.
Hiya, I'm that guy. And you're listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Yay.
Yes,
So
our
cool.
Mr. Billy Zane. That's actually from a couple years ago, but we did do our Demon Night screening and did a Q&A with Mr. Zane and the director Ernest Dickerson. You can find the Q&A on our podcast stream or our YouTube feed. We had a really good
So
conversation.
exciting.
Really cool guy. Yeah, I was nervous as hell.
I bet.
You look
Yeah.
pretty. It didn't come through.
Okay, that's good. Well,
you might have been nervous in here. But you were a good host.
yeah, well, when I'm nervous, it's very much like a body thing. So like, I had to sit through the movie, and I ran out as soon as the credits started to go use the bathroom. I didn't want to. I want to have a good clear bladder before doing the Q&A. So
Right.
I can see you know Billy Zane telling his friends like, "Yeah, it was a great Q&A, but the host, I think he shit himself on stage." I don't know.
but also just all the fans that came. Thank you for coming out. We sold over 180 tickets.
Wow.
Wow, that's
which is
incredible.
Really
Congratulations.
cool. And like just meeting people. Someone actually asked for my autograph. And I was like, okay,
Damn,
that's the
Jason,
first.
Celebrity.
That's amazing.
I know.
So don't forget us little people when you're all big and famous.
I know exactly. And people were like grabbing up our stickers and stuff. Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
And,
I wish I could come out for that, but like I was thinking about driving out there, but I needed to be back at work Monday morning, and I couldn't take that day off for reasons. And I was like, God, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that and then drive home.
Yeah, for
5
sure. I
hours
mean,
later.
I know Sunday night can be a difficult night for some people, but the theaters want to make their money, on Friday and Saturday night. So it's kind of
Yeah.
Like I said, I fought for the 7 o'clock time instead of like a 10 p.m. or midnight showing because I ain't staying up for that.
And for anyone that couldn't be there, it's not going to be as cool. What Regal Cinemas is doing their 31 days of screams or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So every day they're playing a new horror film. Demon Night is October 20th. They'll be showing Demon Night in the theater. So
Yes.
get your tickets for that too.
Okay, Mondo, give us your song of the day.
So in honor of the Ozman again passing away recently, and the record being played in this, which Jason apparently is still very upset about. They didn't listen to the record before.
Man, I'm fuming.
Yeah. So there's a history of hidden messages in music, and it's actually kind of fun. Back in the LP days, there's always like the rumor, and if you guys seen the Gate was the same thing where they played the Satanic record backwards and summoned the demons, and there's always that rumor in the Satanic Panic era that people were doing this. So a lot of bands started doing it for fun. Like Zeppelin did it, even though they're the worst band in the world. Pink Floyd did it, and Ozzy did it on the No Rest for the Wicked record. And I wish I could tell you like what year it came out in, because I'm just drawing a blank. I think it came out in like 88. No Rest for the Wicked by Ozzy. But he released a record called No Rest for the Wicked. And on the song Bloodbath in Paradise, if you play it backwards, there's a hidden message inspired by The Exorcist, where it says, your mother, I mean, very clear when I say this, your mother sells whelks in Hull. Basically, your mother sells sea snails in Hull, England. And I always thought that was like really clever and really kind of corny. And I love that though, because the Prince of Darkness had a sense of humor, guys. It's what it was. He was not an evil man. He accidentally bit a live bat one time.
Well, he thought it was a toy.
So what they would do in the concerts, they would throw rubber bats on stage, and he'd bite the heads off them, and that was like a big joke. So one day, someone in the crowd brought a dead bat and threw it up on stage. He thought it was rubber. Let's be honest, it's Ozzy. He probably had some substances in his body and didn't realize it wasn't rubber and bit it. And then apparently he had to go through like months of like testing for rabies and rabies shots and all kinds of stuff.
Shit.
It was not fun and games for him. But then he infamously did, I don't remember if it was in an album or if it was in a magazine, where he's looking all scary and he's got raw meat in his mouth. And the PR people basically told everyone it was bat meat.
Oh.
So that's why he became
shit.
the legend of Ozzy came. And like I remember growing up hearing so many rumors
Oh, yeah.
about the crazy stuff Ozzy did at shows. There's a rumor that he once threw a bag of kittens into the crowd and said he wouldn't start the show until the kittens were dead. And I still remember like someone told Ozzy that later. Ozzy was like, "What the fuck? Why the fuck would I fucking love kittens? Why the fuck would I do that?" Like, yeah, Ozzy impersonation. But just imagine Ozzy waving his arms wildly while he's very upset that someone would accuse him of such a thing. But that's like
my favorite one is that he snorted a line of ants for fun.
That is, I don't know if that was a rumor.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's a rumor.
That one he actually did.
There was a behind the music years ago. They're talking about crazy stories. And I don't remember if it was Sebastian Bach or somebody. It might have been Scott Ian from Anthrax, might have actually confirmed the ant story. But one of them was talking about how they're trying to like one up each other, like in a Jackass style scenario. And one of the guys was like, fuck it, I'm going to piss on this wall and just drink my own piss. So he pisses on the wall, and before he can drink it, Ozzy pushes him out of the way and starts licking his piss off the ground.
Oh, God.
I think they asked Ozzy about it. He goes, I don't remember, but probably. Like, I probably did that.
Yeah. Like, that sounds on brand.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would have done. Fun times, guys. Fun times back in the 90s when you couldn't confirm or deny rumors.
Well, same thing now, but yeah.
Everyone said that about Marilyn Manson removing a rib, and it turned out that he's just a terrible human being. So,
right.
Oh, yeah.
And that he was the kid from Wonder Years.
The rumor was King Diamond was God, what is his name from the Munsters? The werewolf kid.
Yeah.
Butch is the guy's actual name, but there's rumors that he was King Diamond, and like I thought that was real until like 2000.
That's funny. All right. For our Patreons, we have to help kick off spooky season, we put out a mini review, which isn't very mini, it's actually pretty long, of the first episode of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, or as it was called then, the Simpsons Halloween special. So if you're a Patreon on any of our paid levels, or it might be $2 and above actually, you get access to all of our mini reviews. We have many more coming, so please check that out.
Please, we are tired of working. Like, if just 50,000 of you sign up for the $2 tier, then we can one of us. Jason can retire. I'll have to wait, but we can split the money. We can get part-time jobs instead of
after whatchamacallit, Patreon takes their cut and living in LA. Jody can live off of that, but I can't live off of that in LA. If you want to fund all of Jody's kids going to college, there you go.
So if 150,000 of you sign up, then we can split it 3 ways, and we all have a nice little cushion. So, yeah.
All right.
Or if just 100 of you each do $1,000 tier. I mean, that'd be cool too. I'm just saying.
We'll send feet pics. How about that?
I don't know, for $1,000 a month, I'll send whatever you want. Just put it in the comments.
Oh lordy.
I have a really cute puppy. For $1,000 a month, I will send you pictures of my cute puppy.
Okay, I was wondering where that was going.
That's it. It's very wholesome, actually. I'll send you his cute feet pics. He's got a lot of hair between his little toe beans. It's very cute.
We were at Home Depot today, and they have like all their huge Halloween displays and stuff. I took my kids over to like pick out something, and there's all the really spooky stuff. There's the kind of cutesy stuff, but what they both wanted was this dog that's like inside of a pumpkin. It's like this really cute dog inside of a pumpkin. The pumpkin like lights up. It's like the most sweet innocent of all of them.
We're doing it again. Like, okay. We're decorating. When I say we, this is my wife's idea. It came out great last year, so we're doing it again. A haunted petting zoo. Where we have cages and stuff, like kennels for our dogs and stuff. So we bought a bunch of skeleton animals last year and then put them in there, like just like a dog in a pen, and then like a rat coming out of one little cage, and then we have a fish tank with a skeleton of a snake in it. But I love that she put one. It's a dog, and he's got the Elizabethan cone, and it looks like he's like yelling for help, like help.
That's cool. I like that.
I'll send you guys some pictures. It came out pretty neat. You can put them on Patreon for our $1,000 tier.
I'll get right on that. What advice do we want to give our audience today?
You're never too old to have fun on Halloween. Go have fun.
Yes.
That is perfect advice. Or
Like,
else.
Yeah,
Add
go
the
have fun
threat in
or
there.
else.
Especially now, again, if you have kids, just dive in with your kids and just lean into it as much as you can. If you're a younger, adults, you could go to some parties, there's so many ways, or there's so many good movie screenings right now. There's as part of the Regal thing, they're showing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch on Halloween night, and there's showings at 5, 8, and 10.
Depends
And
on
I'm
where
like,
you live. I only have a showing
Yeah.
at 8, and that's going to cut into my handing out candy time. So
I know. I'm like, could I just drink a what are those drinks? Celsius, and just power through to the 10 o'clock showing. And it's a Friday night, so I can just sleep in the next day.
and for the love of God, if you're not going to hand out candy, turn your lights off. But
Yeah.
also just fucking hand out candy, guys. Don't be if you can't afford it, I get it. Some people can't afford it. I would never ever hold out on somebody. But if you can afford it, just buy a $10 bag of candy from Target. If you have to give every kid one piece, they're gonna be just tickled to death that you opened the door and gave them a little bit of candy. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. Like I've been so disappointed the last few years because the apartment complex that I live in, there are a ton of kids that live there, but they all go trick-or-treating elsewhere. So nobody ever knocks on my door, no matter how many decorations I put up. So I buy candy every year, and then I end up with just a crap ton of candy.
Oh
live in a
no!
cul-de-sac.
Don't leave me with all this candy.
Yeah.
I'm diabetic, so I can't have the candy in my house. I
yeah.
won't eat it. I'm not even tempted to eat it anymore. But I live in a cul-de-sac. I think last year, maybe it was the year before, we still ended up. So we got a lot of kids once the word got out that we're giving out full-size candy bars.
I bet.
But it was still kind of slow last year because I think we were one of the only houses on the whole cul-de-sac that decorated. So if kids walk by and they only see one house decorated in a cul-de-sac, do they really want to spend the time to walk down it?
Sure.
And it frustrates me because I'm like, fucking, neighbor across the street has no problem putting his political propaganda up.
Oh no!
And that was still the scariest sign in the entire cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
But,
you want to live in one of those neighborhoods where every single person decorates and all the kids go there. That would be amazing.
My new neighbors are cool. They're chill and they're quiet, kind of like we are. But the year before, my other neighbors who sold their house, they had plans for one Halloween. We were gonna do a joint kind of thing because our yards are connected, and we're gonna do a haunted maze, all this other stuff. And then they sold the house and moved out.
No,
Knife through my heart.
That's too bad.
I'm a total introvert, so for me to even agree to do that was a big deal, and I was actually excited for this. Yeah, broke my fucking heart. Never
you
again.
need to indoctrinate your other neighbors into the cult of Halloween.
Then I got to talk to them though.
Right, that is the downside.
Yeah,
You do have to be social.
Depends on your neighbors.
No, I love my neighbors next to us now because they're also very introverted. So we do this thing. We both come home from work at the same time. It's like a game of chicken as a who's gonna get out of their car first. So we don't have to talk to. We don't have to have the awkward hello. But they're the nicest. They're the nicest people though. But I still feel like I ruined the wife's life. Because when I walk out my front door, I could hear her playing piano upstairs a lot of times, and she's really good. So when I saw her, I said, "Oh, I heard you playing piano today." I said, "You're really good." Never heard her again.
So you think she got embarrassed about it?
Yeah, but she was great. Then I felt bad. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. But I don't know. I like to gas people up when I can because it's just people don't get enough good compliments. But anyhow, fucking decorate for Halloween, give candy out, have a good time. Like Jason said, go see a movie. Just don't be a grump. Save the grumpiness for Christmas time.
Yeah, that's
don't
when
be
I
a Halloween grump. Be a Grinch instead.
That's my season.
Yeah.
All right.
You can see my heart lies.
There we go. Ariel, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you and more Zombie Girl goodness?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. Look up More Deadly. That is the podcast that I do with Rachel, who's on here all the time too, I know, where we review women-directed horror movies. Jason has been on there before. Mando, we still need to get you to come on sometime.
I will. I'm happy to.
Or you can find us at ZG Podcasts on basically every single social media platform. Unfortunately, we're there.
It's a necessary evil, sad to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Please follow us.
Having positive voices on there that aren't spreading filth. I say filth, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's good for people to find that and know that it does exist.
That's true.
Somewhere.
I will say we have a very fun vibe on our Instagram and even on TikTok. Once you get into like the horror algorithm, that's pretty much all you get. It's fun. It's fine. It's okay.
And a tip for social media, you can ban keywords. So I have I think I've maxed out the amount of keywords I have banned, because all I want to see on my social media feed is like horror stuff from like you guys, like pro wrestling stuff, like jujitsu stuff, and heavy metal. And cute animals. I'm big. Cute animal Instagram is my happy place. I don't want to see anything else.
Makes sense. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate it if you would give us a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. With that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.